Joining me now is investigative journalist for the Daily Signal, Tony Kinnett. Tony, thank you so much for joining the Pulse this evening. What are your thoughts? I mean, there's a massive amount of waste, fraud, abuse that's being uncovered. You seem to hear nothing but ranting and shouting from Democrats saying, "Oh, this is a travesty. This is unconstitutional. You know, Elon doesn't have any business in there, but he's uncovering fraud." Why would any politician want to stop DOGE and what Elon is doing, in your opinion?
Well, the answer to that question, whether or not it is in fact the denotative answer, meaning like the actual reason behind it, is really immaterial here. It's all about optics, right? We're media guys. We understand everything is about how it looks. This is horrible for the left. They look like they are defending the fraud, the waste, the mismanagement in the government, lock, stock, and barrel with everything that they have. And I gotta be quite clear. Whether or not there's actually individuals in the House for the Democrats who are just kind of going along because they'll do the opposite of whatever the Trump administration wants to do, or whether or not they are trying to cover up fraud, the American people looking at this and going, "You're against somebody reading your receipts? What are you hiding, Representative?"
Yeah, exactly. That's, I think, all what we all want to know. I mean, I was sharing on yesterday's show, I'm going to be 50 years old this year. When I was in high school, I remember my mom and others of her friends talking about, man, it sounds like the government's, just got caught spending $500 on a hammer and $1,200 on a toilet seat. Well, this is over 30 years ago. Some of the stuff that I'm seeing coming out from DOGE, and I think you have as well, share with us maybe some of what we might hear from President Trump tomorrow on the amounts of exorbitant, ridiculously insane prices that they're either paying for things or the kind of money, the kind of organizations that are receiving hundreds of millions or even $1 million. What can you share with us?
Well, I think one of the most egregious examples doesn't necessarily sound bad until you kind of back away and look at it. Politico charging the government like $500 for these super duper alley-oop or special pro subscriptions a pop. I don't know what journalistic service would possibly have any kind of plan whatsoever that would be $500 per person per year. That's bonkers. What are they having some staffer call and read me the news stories every day? Goodness, you could hire a butler at that rate to come and read you the newspaper. And it's, so that goes into what you were talking about, the expensive toilet seats and hammers and charging the government a lot of money. But then you have the NGOs and the charity organizations that take millions and millions of federal dollars to directly defy, to obfuscate, to circumvent federal law on things like immigration policy. So I'm not only paying for Joe Schmo's overrated and overly expensive Politico subscription so he can read mediocre articles, I'm also paying for an organization to work directly against the safety of me, my family, and community. And that's just unconscionable.
Yeah, it is. I don't think that the brick and mortar, the bureaucratic walls that have been put in place inside the government for decades, they weren't ready for a bunch of genius kids, really. The young 20s are still kids, to come in there with their algorithms and all their tech savviness and just strip away all of the bureaucratic BS and red lines and red tape and all the things that were supposed to keep all this separate, and just literally find the money trail. They've just found the money trail that connects it to all of it. And then, as you said, all these NGOs that are just backdooring all the money to get to other things, and then people, which I hope President Trump absolutely puts on blast tomorrow, the individuals behind some of these NGOs or charities that are receiving the money, and again, for some of the ridiculous causes. I also want to get your thoughts on this video. Today on CNN, a Democrat congressman actually called for actual weapons to be used against Elon Musk. Watch.
I want to hear why, but do you think that calling Elon Musk is effective messaging for confronting what is a potentially irreversible transformation of the U.S. government?
Well, he is and I think he's also harming the American public in an enormous way. And what I think is really important, and what the American public want, is for us to bring actual weapons to this bar fight. This is an actual fight for democracy, for the future of this country, and it's important to push back.
Are you kidding me? Now, that's CNN. They just don't really care what they say on air. We actually bleeped that word out that they were calling Elon Musk, but they're calling for actual weapons. I mean, this isn't just semantics and optics. And if it is optics, it's a dog whistle for people to say, hey, you know what? We tried and missed with Trump, but let's go after Elon now. Is it just me, or what are your thoughts?
I love the American public line from Representative Eyebrows or whatever he is. And don't get me wrong, I have some big old eyebrows, but I mean, my goodness, the two caterpillars on his face were rather expressive. Sorry, I mean, if we're just getting all out here and saying whatever we want on network air now, I mean, let's call a spade a spade. In this case, though, Senator or Representative Drama, again, whoever this guy is, complaining that the public really wants to see us go after Elon Musk. What polls are you looking at? I can taste ink through my fingers looking at polling data at this point. Americans, by and large, support President Trump, and they, by and large, support the efforts to search through the fraud of the waste, the malicious nonsense that's been going on in the governmental bureaucracy for nigh on a century at this point. So if you're going to say you have all of this support, where is it? Why are you guys the only ones standing outside of the USAID? Your little cadre with Maxine Waters barely hanging on to dear life, standing outside the DOE. I'm just seeing a couple of angry Democrats trying to get airtime.
It makes you wonder. I wonder, Tony, are they going to wake up anytime soon, any day soon, and realize they are absolutely on the wrong side of history on this? I mean, it's going to be in our history books. What? Yeah, that they are on the wrong side of history. Like the people that are trying to defend, I mean, they're attacking DOGE and Elon Musk. It's like it's going to be in the history books, and they're going to be the ones shamed
I agree.
forever.
I
Final
absolutely
thoughts,
agree.
30 seconds.
I absolutely agree with you on they're on the wrong side of history. But as to the self-realization that they are there, I don't think so. I mean, they can't even have a little bit of realization about who they put as the chair of the DNC or the vice chair of the DNC. If we're talking about David Hogg. They're still letting the progressive squad members get up in the Capitol and talk about reparations and talking about all the white supremacists everywhere, and then going into detail about how they need to censor Americans, as Ayanna Pressley was talking about today. It doesn't look like they're learning anything. They're doubling down, which is wild, but I mean, that's woke for you.
That's what I was asking. I don't know if I don't know if they can actually pull themselves out of the absolute bottomless pit that they are in, and yet they're still sinking deeper and deeper. Tony Kinnett, my brother, thank you so much for doing the Pulse tonight. Appreciate you.
Thanks, David.